Unrecorded in history.
I would recommend this machine.
It's actually part of the armour plating of the Junkers 188.
You told us you want the best from the world of metal detecting. Well, the best is what we do. From critics to equipment reviews.
Good evening, Dave.
I was muted then. I was muted. Good evening. It's 8 o'clock. It's Thursday, and it's the big detecting show. Good evening, Adrian. How are you?
Cool, thanks, mate. Yeah, you?
Marvelous.
All good?
I'm all good. Well, I'm all good, but I'm going to have a go at people now. Last week, there was some trolling going on in the chat room. And it was pretty disgusting, with all due respect. And what some of you may not realise, I know a friend of my daughter's who's 13 who watches the show. I know Sky. Sky's, 10, 11, 12, who watches the show. I know other children who watch the show, and multiple new female readers, listeners, reviewers as well. A lot of female viewers, a lot of children. Don't need to see that shit going on, excuse my language, like it did last week. You can have a go at me all you want. You can have a go at the show all you want. Please don't have a go at the guests. Please don't have a go at anyone. Do it in your own time. This is here for people to watch the show who want to listen to people like tonight's guests or this week's guests or last week's guests or next week's. Just please don't. It's childish and foolish. So there you go.
Yeah,
I've had me say now.
Yeah, no, I agree, Dave. Totally, 100%. You get them, don't you, everywhere?
Sadly, show. And I'm really not bothered if they want to do it on the Facebook page or anything like that. But when there's children and women who are seeing it, it's not very nice. So anyway, moving on. How are you, young man?
Yeah, all good. Thanks, mate. Yeah, I'm
Marvelous.
a bit excited about the Nocta backpack on the intro adverts. Looks a handy bit of kit.
Yeah, it does look very nice. Yes.
Yeah,
and the other bits of kit they've got out as well there that Dilek's been sharing about this week also look bob on. Excuse me. Listen, I'm going to jump straight on to this week's news. First of all will be the news off the website, because obviously there's a hell of a lot of information that's gone on there again this last week, which obviously some of you may have missed. Luke, if you wouldn't mind sharing. Sorry, it's not Luke tonight, it's Laura. That's automatic. Luke's unfortunately too busy again through work commitments, so Laura will be helping again this evening. So as you can see, lots of new articles. Why I Love Kimmy, yes indeed. Why I Love Digging by Sarah and Kimmy of Girls Rock Metal Detectors. The weekly news that we'll go to in a minute. I'm so tired today. I've uploaded the 13 free different graphs and scales, which Mr. Gale is going to make better for me. And as you can see, lots of other new articles. This one's fantastic. I don't think you'd have seen that one yesterday, would you?
No. Sorry.
Gold discovered on Oak Island. The program's now aired. Was it? I'll have a follow-up article going on there. Dean Stainton, my metal detecting journey. Fantastic. He's put that together. A series of posts that we're doing about people's metal detecting journeys, and we're also doing a series as well called Memoirs of a Treasure Hunter. So if you're interested in penning them, that'd be great. Look at them two. They were fantastic. The Northumberland beach with all the sea defences from World War II, and the floods that have showed a English Civil War fort in Oxfordshire. Anyway, we'll get to them momentarily. So we'll click into this week's news. We also have the pre-recorded news by Mr. Aaron Weedle, which again is fantastic. So first up, we've been asked to affiliate with onlinemagnets.co.uk, which are giving readers, viewers, etc. the opportunity to save 10% when you are on the site buying whatever you may buy, by putting in ARCMD10 into the coupon section. So if you're buying something for £5, it'll get 50p knocked off. So it could be a massive saving. And currently, Adrian, I'm sure you'll agree, I know a lot of people are still magnet fishing. under the guise of it's fishing, and fishing is allowed where metal detecting isn't.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, you can go fishing, can't you? So mine might have a long shaft on it and a control box at the end, but no, but no, you can. It's bizarre, isn't it? Absolutely mental. You can stand in a river where you could drown, chuck in a weight in where you could hit potentially anything, but you're not allowed to go out detecting. So move on. I'll keep
You
going.
can step out into the road and get run over, Adrian.
Yeah.
A new range of detecting apparel, as you can see there, the Danebury Metal Detecting Club T-shirt. This was courtesy of Detecting Wear UK. We've been on there, scoured it, and it's a fantastic site. And lots of that T-shirt was only £10, Adrian. Very, very good value, Dave, and they're good quality. Not often I say that about a lot of clothing and stuff you get, but really good stuff. It's a good thick T-shirt. And it's a mint T-shirt. Look at that. Look at the image. Ace.
And I only live 2 miles from Danbury, which it's based on in Essex.
Really?
Yeah, Danbury.
Have you found the Anglo-Saxon burial there yet? Then.
Yeah, a couple of times. Yeah, of course I have. Yeah.
Archaeological breakthrough, a shipwrecked treasure so valuable it's priceless, has been found in Israel. If you want to go through these stories, obviously just go on to archmdmag.com and you'll see the big weekly news, scroll through, and at the end of every paragraph there's the link so you can read more. Again, the Civil War fort, which was flooded, and look at that, Adrian. How good's that? Stunning.
Yeah, brilliant, isn't it?
And I'm sure there'll be others. And it's tragic about the floods, obviously. I've seen houses collapse on the news tonight. But how many other consequential locations could be revealed like that?
Well, what's amazing about that is they built it in the right place, didn't they? I know it's rain, but, look where the floodwaters sort of encroached around it. They obviously Googled that when they built it, didn't they?
Google, yeah. And Antique Roadshow guest speechless over a huge valuation of a Roman boar found in his garden. The Antiques Roadshow expert was completely lost for words. They found this Roman boar in the garden many, many years ago. Not metal detecting, just when he was a child. One of England's first ever gold coins that dates back to 1257 and bears Henry III's portrait, is expected to sell for over 700,000 at auction. So again, all information in there. As I say, there's a link there to Dean Staten's Metal Detecting Journey, which is a great read. Prehistoric Europeans used Bronze Age objects as a currency, their form of euros. And is this gold that has been discovered at Oak Island? Now the show's aired in America, I'll be able to write up a follow-up article to that and say what it actually is. So there you go. That's the news. We will get back momentarily with the video news from Mr. Aaron Weedle, which is absolutely fantastic. But as it's 8:15, let's bring in tonight's guests. Can I introduce you? You all know very well Mr. Julian Evan Hart from Treasure Hunting Magazine, but also Mr. Chris, I've never said this right, Trickschler. There you go. So good evening to both.
Good evening, everyone there, and good evening, everyone listening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everybody.
Hey, guys.
Marvellous to have you on the show this evening.
That was a good attempt at my surname. Well done. That was good.
I honestly, I'm able to speak today, full stop. I spoke to Adrian on the phone earlier and I've been struggling to actually speak. I can't even think of a bigger word than speak. Anyway, it's nice to have you both. We're going to be talking momentarily about the new TV show, which you're both involved with. Sorry, YouTube show, TV show, same thing, called The Underground History Show. So we'll get on to that momentarily. I'll go to Julian first. Are you well, Squire? It's a Happy New Year to both, obviously. Happy New Year to you. Are you well?
Yeah, bless you guys. Happy New Year to everybody and what other festivities. But well in myself. Hoping you guys are too. But looking forward to getting out in those fields again. I really have to say that. It's one of those things. I know we've talked about all the mental health issues, but crikey, I can't wait to see a fellow detectorist out in the field and just walk over, and whether you still have to touch elbows or whatever, I don't care. It's going to be, when we can get back out there, fabulous stuff.
I think we were actually missing an absolute corker here. Instead of shaking hands, instead of knuckle touches, cross spades. What could be worse?
Symbolic.
Isn't
it? Almost like a coat of arms, isn't it?
Absolutely. And Lisa, is Lisa well also?
Yes. Oh, look, there's a hand. Yeah.
Shocked me, that did that.
Yeah, no, she's fine. Missing the fields again, like we all are.
Well, we all know Julian. See, I can't even remember who people are anymore. We all know Julian. We know Julian well, but a lot of people don't know Chris. So, Chris, can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, hi everybody. So my name's Chris Tritchler. Dave did a pretty good job with pronunciation earlier. So I've been a TV cameraman now for 22 years, something like that. But I've recently, last 6 years, I go into detecting, and just like all you lot, I became addicted to it. I had absolutely no defense against it. I run a production company now, so I'm a producer, and we're making a series about. Well, we're not making a series about detecting. Obviously, it is about detecting, but I guess the headline is that we're making a series for detectorists, and that hasn't really been done before, as far as we know.
Sounds good, and obviously that is the under. What's going on here? I'm all over the place. That's better.
You should get your winter dress, you Dave.
I've got me. Yeah, my top's on the right way, and it's not. Is it? Yeah, it's on the right way, and it's not inside out. Underground history show. So, how did that actually come into fruition? It
started, I guess, in lockdown. So I started to think about detecting a lot because I couldn't do much of it, and looked at what was available on YouTube and wondered if there was room for a show like the kind I'd been involved in. So the stuff I've done in the past, I've done all sorts, from EastEnders to Scrap Heap Challenge. But in the early days, I did a lot of what's known as magazine shows for Discovery. And I wondered if we could somehow get one together, which was for detectorists and made by detectorists, but also wasn't broadcast, because once you get into sort of working with broadcasters, then there's certain things that you have to abide by, and ultimately you'll try and change it to suit their format. So we wanted to make something that was really varied, and I sketched it up on paper and thought, yeah, this could work. So then I put a pitch together and sent it to everybody, and people seem to like it. So that's how it started. Yeah.
Brilliant. And now, did you come to be involved, Julian?
Well, this is going to rely on my memory, which is notoriously famous. But I believe I'm right in saying Chris either Facebook messaged me or emailed me, and I had a look at the portfolio thing he put through, and yeah, I've had dealings with quite a few sort of TV companies, most of which never come to anything, or film producing companies, and there was just something about this that registered different, and now 5 months on, I think it is. Wow, I'm really, really honoured that Chris sort of picked on me in this capacity. Sounds like schoolboy bullying, doesn't it? But and now with hindsight, I can look back and think, do you know what? Yeah, my feeling was right. He's a real hard taskmaster to work for, I must admit. And sometimes we've never clashed, but I think he finds me very frustrating because I have a set way. But we always, we work really well together. And the interesting thing is sometimes at the end of like filming, I can be really almost really knackered, I think is probably the best word at the end of the day. And I think, oh God, how many times has Chris made me do this and do this and do that? And when I look back and I see the end product, this guy, the quality of this program that he has produced, I've got to say it's absolutely phenomenal. I've had a few sneak previews of the episode 1 as it's been polished up and as he's assembled it. and it's an open mouth job. I just sort of, crikey, that is excellent. The flavour, the atmosphere, it's like a detectorist thinks, and I think in that way, it's this is unique stuff, and it's just a real pleasure to be involved with it. It's really exciting times, and let's face it, at the moment, I think we all need something to look forward to, and I hope in some capacity, and I'm sure, as does Chris, that we can fuel that hope and want, because it really is just a fascinating series from what I've seen so far.
Well, obviously, seeing the trailer, which is all I've seen, the content of it, one of the original trailers anyway, was a very worthwhile seeing. It's as I said to, I think it was yourself when we were on the year in review show. Metal detecting has had several different types of TV show. We had KG and Ringy, which was American and excited, etc., but it grasped the attention. We had Horde Hunters with Gordon and Gary, which was fantastic, and they brought different elements into that as well. Not long enough, if you ask me, the program itself. And then we've had others that were, let's face it, crap. And then everything else has been a little bit here, a little bit on there on regional TV programs and such like. So it is something that I think personally deserves its position within the metal detecting community, and looking forward to it greatly.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah.
Could you give us an outline of what sort of, is each episode going to be the standard? Is it going to be a standard format like metal detector review, going to a location to detect, looking at a club, or is it varied throughout the series?
Okay, so it's going to be the same but different, which doesn't make much sense. So it has an overall structure. So there's certain items that we have every month. History Detective, which is the piece that we do with Jules. Calls Over Spoils, which is where we cover digs. That's been really difficult, obviously, with COVID. And kit store reviews with Laurie McGregor, also known as Simplex Guru. And then my finds, and then a special item. So within that, we want to be as varied as possible, but we want it to have a proper structure, just like a TV show would. So you kind of know what to expect, but it's always a little bit different. And the special item, that can be, anything. So we've had loads of fantastic suggestions. Just wanted to mention something. I sort of neglected the most important bit when I talked about how it all started, and that was our focus group. So we've got 350 people on a Facebook group, and I started to speak to them when there were just like 50 people or so. They didn't know what we were getting dragged into, but everything that went into the pitch document, which is the thing that I sent to Jules, and he got involved, and I've sent to other people, and they've all been very supportive. That all came from detectorists. So the problem that I think that we've had with metal detection shows is they're not metal detection shows, and they're not meant to be. They weren't designed to be. They're for a mass audience. They're made to a certain format. They're usually made around ad breaks and things like that. And that sort of, I guess, dictates the structure of that program. And we wanted to start the other way. So I went to detectorists and said, what do you want in it? And then we had all kinds of features, regular features, and we took votes on them, polls on Facebook, on the focus group, and some survived and some didn't. So this is a sort of fittest of the fittest in terms of items. But yeah, it'll be different. We're trying to get all around the country as much as we can. I always seem to end up in either Inverness or Essex. Yeah, I just can't help that. I don't know how. I imagine it's got something to do with Laurie McGregor, who's one of our presenters. She's based up in Stratpepper, near Inverness, and of course Julian is down in the Braintree area. And I have to say, guys, your mud in Essex is a special kind of mud.
Yeah, we did
photograph, Chris.
Yeah, it's I lost the sole of my hiking boot back when we were filming in autumn down there. Yeah, it really is. So yes, it's got basic structure, but the focus group can potentially change that structure. So if you join the focus group, I'll run ideas past you and we'll take a vote on it. And that way it's always for detectorists, and it's, you know, by detectorists. I've tried really hard to get detectorists involved, because that was something that came out early in the focus group. We didn't just want faces off the telly, we wanted presenters who detected, hence Laurie and hence Jules. But also we've managed to get detectorists. One of the editors who's helped me out with it, who actually edits part of the show, he's a detectorist. I've been a detectorist for 6 years. So we're trying to make this unique, try to make this different.
Brilliant. You mentioned two of the segments. One was a review, metal detector review, and one was an accessories type review. So I take it in that respect, accessories and such like, you'd be looking at potentially books, a wide range of things that are classed as accessories or related to the hobby. But when it comes to metal detectors, is that going to be the broad range of metal detectors from Garrett through to Minelab through to Nocta Macro, etc., etc.?
Okay, so at the moment we're only featuring. We are supported by Minelab and Crawford's, and so the machines we'll review will be Minelab machines, but we try and do that in a broader context and make it a bit more of a guide, I guess, to get the best out of them. But then in terms of accessories, sort of everybody really. And what we're trying to do, we try to theme the accessories. So we've got we're working on a piece about spades at the moment. You'd be amazed at how much design technology goes into your humble spade. But in terms of the range of what we cover, anything you can use with detecting, really. I want to do one on flasks, but I've been overvoted on that.
I think you should, because that's a very anorak subject, a niche subject, and it will obviously attract a niche viewership as well.
Yeah. Well, we're all about niche. We're all about making this for detectorists. I think that's really important. As a detectorist, I never felt sort of served by things on the TV. You get little things on local news, like so-and-so found a hoard, but it would only ever be maybe like a 5-minute piece. These are proper sort of, well, we say the half-hour shows, but because we're not broadcast, it means we can have them longer. So I think episode 2 is shaping up to be about 40 minutes, maybe a bit longer. And we'll just wait for the feedback from the focus group and people who watch it from a wider audience, and see how they feel about that, and then we'll sort of tailor the duration to that.
Adrian, have you got anything?
Just obviously COVID has caused, because obviously I helped you out, Chris, with a few clips, sadly, for my acting skills. But COVID's caused a huge problem, no doubt, in producing this show.
Yeah.
So when do you feel or anticipate that the first episode will be launched?
The first episode is imminent, and that's a me imminent. So that means next week, we think. So we've made it, we've edited it, we tested it out with different audiences, and now it's gone to Minelab, and Crawford's have already signed off on it, and Minelab is just going through their system to see if they've got any notes on it. And it's already been through the focus group. So yeah, it'll be, I would imagine it'll be next week. And then after that, it'll be a much more regular sort of, every month we'll release an episode.
So
you're right, COVID has been a massive challenge. And if it was a show about anything else, I would have given up by now. But because it's detecting, and I seem to have got myself addicted to it, and everyone I meet has been really supportive, and I've made. Julian was being very modest. He was saying that sometimes we clashed. I've been involved in clashes on jobs. I've never clashed with Julian. Julian is an absolute gent and a real pleasure to work with. And I've made him do all kinds of strange things, and he's just done them. And I think, and also Adrian helped us out massively when we were looking at the Vanquish 540, which comes up in the first episode. And I've worked with, it's always a risk when you work with people who aren't trained presenters. And I've got to tailor myself to that. It's no good sort of, having your watch and telling people we've got to produce 5 pieces to camera in an hour, because they won't be able to do it. And this has been an amazing sort of organic. We have a bit of a script. So we do these pieces to camera where Julian might say where we are, what we're doing. And Julian is a chap that doesn't always work very well from that sort of thing. So basically, I get a conversation going and try and film it. is what we do with Julian. It's worked really well, and I'm really pleased with it. And Adrian was just bloody. I shouldn't say this to his face, but he was absolutely magnificent in a muddy field in Essex. That's a running theme, muddy fields in Essex, and he's as a sort of I'm directing it and I'm also shooting it and I'm also sorting sound. Well, we do have a camera assistant, unsung hero called Haval, who I think you've both met, both Adrian and Julian, on shoots. Yeah. And he's been amazing. He's really helped me. He's learnt so quickly, and we're all sort of getting a feel for it now. But I can't do this on my own. You need to work with people, and I've just been so lucky to find Julian, who sometimes when we have had little things where I've had to push Julian to do it again, or Julian doesn't really understand why we have to go and do sort of cutaways in his hand. That's one of his bugbears. I have to. I sometimes find myself chatting to him, saying, "Oh, come on, let's get done. We'll go for lunch. Come on." And then I think I'm talking to an absolute bloody master of detecting. And a few months ago, I didn't dare ask him to sign my copy of one of his books, and now I'm stood in the field telling him what to do. And occasionally I've got to pinch myself because this is a dream come true for me. It really is. And Julian, people like Julian, Adrian, and Laurie have made it come to life, and I'm just so grateful.
Oh, thank you very much. That's nice. I thought we were in a field, just obviously, and it had been heavy rain.
Flooding. Oh, it was insane.
The roads were closed because of floods, and the permission that I detect on is in Essex. We have a lot of clay, and it was ridiculous. I mean, I did find stuff, didn't I?
You found a buckle?
Yeah, I found a lovely 16th century buckle within 3 minutes of turning the Vanquish 540 on, which
that was all for real. We don't stage anything. That's a really important point I want to make. So even when we go on a dig, we don't find anything, and we don't find anything. But on a dig, if you're creative, you can talk about the land, you can talk about how it's being used, you can talk about in terms of how the soil's structured, and if you find a lot of Victorian things on the top, then what's beneath that is anything older. And we look up sort of old maps and things, but we don't stage anything. So there are rumours, I've not witnessed it, that some shows bury stuff and then you find it.
Really?
Could you believe it? But we don't do.
Can't believe that.
We don't do any of that, and both Jules and Adrian will testify to that because
I don't think Jules would let you.
No. Just quickly, Chris, before people sort of go off to watch Emmerdale Omnibus or something, where can they watch the trailer, and what YouTube channel can they subscribe to?
So it's just called The Underground History Show. Yeah, you just subscribe to it on YouTube, and it'll be fantastic to have you, everybody.
I'll be certainly doing that, and obviously we'll. Any information, obviously, that you want to get out, Chris and Julian, in the coming days, coming weeks, when I've shrunk, my bloody thing keeps moving. We can certainly put a post together, and I'm a giant now. Put a post together and get it sent out, no problem. I was going to say sort of dead important then as well. It's gone. That's me today. Absolutely. Don't forget, we'll be breaking in 10 minutes to the Digger Dips weekly draw, where you've got 3 prizes again this week. One or few things before I do forget, I'm going to have to throw in. Detector Network, the iOS, the Apple app is now live, so you can download that on Apple, as well as the Archaeology Metal Detecting Magazine. Drink! I am. And something that I think I must have missed when I was doing the news, Julian. Greenlight Publishing have got a special offer on books at the moment.
We have. Strangely, it's now you've caught me right out of the blue there, because I don't have anything to do with the promotions or outside the company. But yeah, we've got our January sale on at the moment, with discounts up to 40% on selected books. It might even be all books. I told you, Dave, I don't know anything about company promotions. But if you go onto the website or the Facebook page, there are full details there. From what I've seen on social media, it's been a really successful launch project, sale, call it what you will. Loads of happy customers on there, celebrating the discounts. And let's face it, at the moment, everyone needs a bargain. Everyone likes a bargain. So please do have a look. We have over 57 titles. I think it might even be 60 now. Adrian or Dan can correct me on that. But and the glorious thing about them is that the vast majority, probably over 99%, are written by detectorists or people who are heavily involved in our hobby. So almost every publication is written with the angle of, it's one of those things when you go out detecting, you have no knowledge of medieval spoons or fittings. You go and find one, you're questing out to find next week to buy a book on that particular subject. I've done it so many times myself. And when you look at the titles, I'm really proud to be associated with a company like that. It really caters for the metal detectorist in what some might say are geeky specialist subjects, really refined subjects, and some beautiful coin books. And also, we're so lucky to have the Gordon Bailey series of finds identified, which really, is the hardcore basis for the hobby. But each book serves a purpose. Of course, the latest ones, the 2 finds identified volumes, which now form a perfect marriage. Well, you just got to look on social media to see how there's so many. I was looking through my junk box yesterday, and guess what? And that, for a publisher, is the cream. When you get your customers saying, it worked for me, you can't ask for it.
I've got to put in there, Julian, when you're talking about people going through their rubbish bags, I went through mine the other day. Guess what I found?
Okay.
They're rubbish.
Oh. It's true. It's 40 up to 40%, just to get people clear. But the books is the main ones that people are interested in.
Absolutely.
But the best sellers pretty much. But it's quite a lot of money, 40%. And as Jules said, my favourite is Gordon Bailey. His books, the illustrations, to be able to pick up what you think's a bit of junk and start reading up about it and think, oh my God, this guy, I mean, he's been detecting for what, 40 years, Jules?
I think probably the best part, I mean, he was rummaging around on the end of the Second World War bomb sites in London. So this guy's been, and he was finding pennies under the broken floorboards and actually selling them at market. He set up a little coin stall, late 40s, 50s, I think I'm right.
Wow.
I was only on the phone to him last night, as a matter of fact, and they got, there's only one word that you can affix to Gordon, and that's legend. That guy has put so much into the hobby. I don't think there's a detectorist in the UK that's not benefited from Gordon's experience.
And what's really interesting, he's not on social media.
I know.
So all the time we're mincing about looking at sort of the latest metal detector out and how deep can you go with the Simplex or the Vanquish or whatever. Gordon's sitting there just writing it down and getting illustrations done. So I have seen him on video online through a non-metal detecting source. And he is absolutely amazing. But he writes a lot of books for Greenlight Publishing, and I can honestly say, once you get your hands on one of them, he's a master.
He really is.
And I can't wax lyrical enough about the finds identified books, as you know, stunning. Quality. I'd still pick it up just to look at the pictures on a daily basis. No idea what I'm looking at, but love it. And I'm sure lots of other people feel exactly the same. And the reason I brought up, obviously, the green light things, because people do tend to drop off around 9 o'clock. So I want people to know that this sale is on currently. Also, Laurie McGregor's now in the chat. And yes, Laurie, lots of nice things were said about you, especially by me. Definitely. I said the nicest things, honestly. Definitely. Anyway, we've got how many minutes out? We are 2 minutes out from the Diggers Dips draw. I'll also give mention to another website that was pointed out to me this week. is a gentleman called Paul or Phil, because mine's dead, who has started to create a shovel.
Ooh.
And his website's called McGrafter. I'll put a post up on the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, but I'm pretty certain that these are graphite.
It's very lightweight.
Very lightweight, and they do look very strong, and they look a great bit of kit, to be honest.
I think anyone who's been watching Tony Kaywood, TC Detects, I think he's been part of the prototype tester for that. But it looks a really cool digging tool.
It does.
And it's very, I think it's he'll probably put in the chat, but the weight is 2.8 pounds or something.
2.5. It's
2.5. Yeah.
McGrafter, megrafta.mazzello.co.uk.
But it is English.
Yes,
with a name like that.
Yes.
Yeah, it does look really, really good spade as opposed to shovel. And I'm looking forward to getting hold of one of those. It looks really, really good.
Me too. Well, we're going to start. I've already started, Sharon. I didn't realise I pressed it for the draw, which is in 30 seconds. After the adverts, we'll be back. I'll put on, straight after the adverts, I will put on Aaron Weedle's weekly news, which is fantastic. And then we'll get back straight away to the Underground History Show. Talk a little bit more about what's going on and what's going to be within it. But as you can see, we're on our 11-second countdown. We've got 39 entrants tonight. So, Chris, as you're the newbie to the show, you can pick a number between 1 and 39.
18.
Julian.
27.
Gayla.
3.
I'll have to go in the 30s then. I'll go for 33. Don't forget to play along in the comments. Oh, it's a naught. It's one of us. So exciting this. I'm on the edge of my seat. Oh, 2. Only Julian could get there. Number 23.
Pretty near.
It's Dean Stainton, Shilling King UK. And he's won the book Successful Detecting Sites. I knew who that was straight away. That's good for me. Pick a number again, Julian.
32.
Oh, that was my number. Chris.
24.
Adrian.
11.
Me. 19.
No.
Oh, none of us.
3.
2. 6. And that's Norfolk Button. So I think that's Jamie Jones. I think. And you've won a Nocta Macro Finds pouch. Now, for the last one, Adrian.
11.
Julian.
12.
I heard Lisa say that, you cheat. Chris.
29.
And I'm going to go for 8. Oh, it's none of us. I bet it's 32.
Yeah.
$30. So number 30 is Major. So first place successful detecting sites is Shilling King UK. Second place, Nocta Macro Finds pouch is Norfolk Button Boy. We're bombarded by a cat at the moment. In third place is Digger Dips, 10 Digger Dips tokens to Major. So you'll all be communicated with via Digger's Dips. Thank you to Chris and the team as ever for that. Just before the adverts, I forgot. So it's adverts. Thanks, Laura.
I'm Dave D, and you're watching XP Team USA.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go straight into Aaron Weedle's news. Adrian, can you tell me when you see the blank screen, please?
I can see the sort of. I can see a screen.
Aaron here again with another collection of news.
Could you see that?
Yes, perfectly. Yeah. No sound, Dave. No sound.
Right, let me start again because I actually did share it with sound. Bloody technology. Let's try again. Share screen, share audio, choose that, Laura, it's over to you.
Aaron here again with
How was that?
Yeah, that's it.
Another collection of news articles from around the world concerning metal detecting or archaeology. Sit back and enjoy. We're heading up to Scotland first of all, and it appears that the key to the room where Napoleon died has been found. The French emperor was held as a prisoner of the British on the Isle of St. Helena in the South Atlantic after his defeat at Waterloo. No, copyright, we'll get in trouble. No, stop it. Stop it right now. He died in 1821, and the bedroom key was taken by a British soldier and ended up in a country house outside of Edinburgh. The Scottish descendants of the soldier have made the key available for sale. It's been auctioned by Sotheby's, and the key, along with the envelope and notes it was found with, are estimated to be worth up to £5,000. Soldier Charles Richard Fox took the key from St. Helena and gave it to his mother, Baroness Holland, a super fan of Napoleon. She already had a collection of items connected to the Corsican-born former French statesman and military leader, including one of his socks. Scottish descendants of the soldier and the Baroness found the key while unpacking an old trunk. Again, we're delving into the pages of the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, looking at a story about thousands of Roman and medieval coins unearthed in Hungary. Ongoing excavations at a rural spot in a village in central Hungary recently struck gold, both figuratively and literally. Archaeologists using metal detectors found a buried treasure of approximately 7,000 silver and 4 medieval gold coins in Hungary. Hidden centuries ago by unknown individuals, this is the largest collection of old coins ever unearthed in Pest County, which surrounds Hungary's capital city of Budapest. The discovery is the largest value hoard of coins from the late Middle Ages ever found in Pest County. The earliest of the coins dates back to the 2nd century, a silver denarius of Lucius Verus, co-emperor of the Roman Empire from 161 to 169. Hungary was a part of the empire at that time, while the youngest was issued during the kingdom of Louis II, who ruled Hungary from 1516 to 1526. Based on the latter finding, the archaeologists concluded that the coins must have been buried either during Louis II's reign or shortly thereafter. We're heading over to France now, where the 2,000-year-old remains of a boy and his dog have been discovered in France. French archaeologists have made a discovery of the remains of a 2,000-year-old boy buried with animal offerings and what appears to have been a pet dog. The dog, believed to be around a year old, was buried in the early 1st century during Roman rule in an 80-centimeter-long wooden coffin made with nails and marked with a decorative iron tag. The coffin was placed in a 2-meter by 1-meter grave and was surrounded by around 20 objects, including several miniature terracotta vases and glass jars, believed to contain oils and medicines. Half a pig, 3 hams, as well as 2 headless chickens. The archaeologists said they also found an ornamental copper pin used to hold a mortise and a 12-inch iron ring attached to a bent metal bar believed to be a toy. The end of the rod had slipped between the legs of a puppy placed at the feet of the deceased outside of the coffin. The young animal wore a necklace with bronze ornaments and fitted with a small bell. Now, back here in the UK, we're all on lockdown and we can't get out metal detecting. We are climbing the walls and going stir crazy. But what if your permission was your back garden? Metal detecting Emily lives on a farm and her permission is her back garden, so she's still been able to get out. While she was out, she stumbled across this absolutely stunning hammered gold coin. Henry VII, half angel to be precise. The closest Emily and her father have come to finding gold is when her dad found a gold ring. Personally, Emily said she's only ever found gold gilded buttons before. Yeah, I know that feeling. If you'd like to see the video for yourself where Emily pulls the coin out of the ground, then head over to Metal Detecting Emily on YouTube. And finally, a tourist has been filmed climbing up the ancient Mayan pyramid in front of a puzzled crowd. This is the moment a tourist climbed up the steep steps of the Mayan pyramid in front of puzzled onlookers before being taken away by the authorities. The incident took place at the Chichen Itza archaeological site located in Mexico's state of Yucatan on the 3rd of January. Chichen Itza was a major Mayan city and home to the El Castillo Pyramid, also known as the Temple of Kukulkan, located in the center of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. The woman begins speaking to a man who appears to work at the site when she gets to the bottom. Initial reports claim that she climbed the pyramid to keep a promise she made to her late husband to spread his ashes at the site. Well, that's all from me for another week. If you've got any strange archaeological or metal detecting stories you'd like me to have a look at, head over to the South Coast Detecting Facebook page and leave your link there. I'll see you all again next time. Cheers. Ta-da!
Well, what can I say? Aaron Weedle. And I've made the executive decision, and I'm sure you and Luke, when I speak to him, will be in full agreement that as of next week, I'm dropping our news at the start and instead putting young Mr. Wheedles on instead. What do you say, Adrian?
No.
No.
Yeah, no.
That's a legend. That's absolutely fantastic.
I like your news. Aaron's is funny, and I don't know where he gets some of it from, because no doubt, like you, I've got Google alerts for archaeological keywords and metal detecting, and he still picks up stuff. So hats off to him. And that metal detecting Emily, cracking job. I think that's a lovely thing to hear, isn't it? She's got in her back garden and she finds gold. So yeah, lovely news. I'm going to follow her on Instagram.
Well, kudos to Aaron again for that. I mean, we know what of his job is as a voiceover man, but I said to Luke last week, with all due respect, some newsreaders you hear on local radio, on national radio, I've not got a jot on Aaron. He's got that absolutely perfect. Yeah. Anyway, shall we bring back our guest, Mr. Evan Hart and Chris?
Is Chris with his cat?
Chris T.
Oh, no.
Hey.
Good stuff.
Do you like the new news?
Yeah, I really did. I like the straight to the point, and the photography, the video coverage is superb.
He's done a brilliant job of that. Fair play. Kudos to him.
Fantastic.
Adrian, you had some questions that have come in from the chat.
Yes, I did. And I've forgotten what they were. I'll tell you what. Well, firstly, I think you mentioned it, but hats off to Scott at Detector Network for bringing out the iOS app for Detector Network, because being on the site myself, there's been hundreds of new members signing up since the app launched, this week, was it? Or last week? It's becoming really popular now, being able to just have the app on your phone. And I know he's working on a lot more features for the site, which is growing, which is quite popular. Also, I'd like to quickly say hello to Gareth Sims in the chat, Brian as well from Braintree Metal Detecting Club, because there's lots of questions in there, and I've completely forgotten. I wrote them down, Dave, went out to the kitchen, and I must have put them in the bin or something. I think Laurie said something about the Garrett has got bugs, replying to STE. STE Shorters, who kindly sent the Danebury Metal Detecting Club t-shirt, Dave, which the website was it Metal Detecting Gear?
Detecting what? I'll have to check on that. I'll get back and see you momentarily.
Yeah, I was interested in what Laura was saying about bugs. Whether she was going. Oh, she's heard. Okay, that's fine, because I physically got one here. I've got lots of machines here, actually. I've got loads of metal detectors. They're all over the place. But I've got the Apex, and there was a problem with the coil. Can of beer. There was a problem with the coil. There was a problem with the coil. I got it from Edgerton's, and they managed to fix it and supply a new one within 24 hours. Hence the article I've written in this month's Treasure Hunting magazine. But yeah, I've just had a major accident. I'm holding metal detectors. They're falling out everywhere. I don't know.
Detectingware UK.co.uk.
I'm probably not the only one, but because of the bad weather we've had and not being able to detect, I've brought all my machines inside. So my... Gosh, dear.
It's all going off.
It's all...
Adrian, Julian, have a word with him.
I don't know. It reminds me of that gentleman who put a Facebook post up who's been collecting detectors for the last 40 years and had over 110. I think Adrian's nearby.
I've got them everywhere. They're just falling about.
Oh, my God.
I brought my machines in because this time of year and we can't go out. I thought, right, I'll get them all cleaned up. WD-40 on the shafts, make sure the batteries are charged. Certain ones have software updates, and I've done all that. And I brought them all in today, and they're literally all sitting here, and they've all just fallen over everywhere, and headphones everywhere. But
have you got a nice blanket to put them to bed later as well?
I sleep with them.
What about the house manager?
The housing manager. The last 2 nights she's been on the sofa because I've got too many detectors in the bed, and with all the charging leads and cables. So she's happy down here. I've given her the Finds Identified 2 to read, and I've taken the television upstairs in the bedroom because I need to look at.
Have you not given the most recent copy of the Treasure Hunting magazine?
No, never do that. Camera's gone funny now. It's all going pear-shaped.
That's because you're bloody knocking everything about. Anyway, let's get back to these nice men from... I can't remember what it's called.
The nice
I can't
men.
remember. My mind's gone blank. The Nice Men, Julian and Chris, Underground History Show. Chris, I've got a question. Where did you come up with the name Underground History Show? Because and the reason I ask is because I was talking to Adrian about this, and to me, when I heard about Underground History Show, I perceived it to be a program generalized about history, talking about the dark elements of history and such like. So, and obviously, I was surprised to learn it was a metal detecting show.
Wow. Okay, that's really interesting you said that. We went through a few evolutions. Metal detecting maniacs, I remember, was one particularly bad one. When I talk about the Underground History Show, it does say what it does on the tin, but yeah, we do look at the darker sides of history. So we have got some stuff coming up, and also we wanted to avoid metal detector in the name just so that a wide audience might find it when they're looking for history stuff. So it sort of came out of it probably came out of necessity that I needed to get something out. I wrote a load of names down, and that one seemed to make the most sense. There's not somewhere where there's like 50 really creative people sat around the table all coming up with names for the show. It was me and the cat.
So the cat won.
Yes, well, she often does win. Yeah.
So it was going to be called Metal Detectors.
Yeah, very good.
The pain.
I'm in my dad joke zone now because I'm tired, obviously.
Yeah.
And Julian, up to now, well, what I will do actually, I will pull up the images, and we'll go through the images, and you can both obviously discuss what's actually going on with some of the photographs and behind, and tell us a little bit more about behind the scenes in the show up to now. And Laura's probably
Scrambled.
There it is.
Oh, well done, Laura.
So I've actually done something I've never done before. I've actually put them in order. Wow. Because we all know what a buffoon I am when it comes to things like that. So the Underground History Show, self-explanatory, and over to you.
Right. Well, that was at our head office in Essex, and I went out the back, not for a cigarette. Can't remember why. I think Lisa was detecting on the farmer's front garden, and I saw that stage door, and I thought, well, that's appropriate. I don't think Chris put that there. I think unless you did, Chris.
No.
But I thought, yeah. So I just took a shot of that, sort of to get the atmosphere of what we were doing that day.
Madness.
Purely random shot, really.
Mm.
And that's just inside what we've all called our head office, really, down in Essex. A lovely Tudor barn. It just, captures the essence and atmosphere. As you're filming in there, I get the impression it's weird, almost like the barn adds something to you. It speaks about the amount of people who've walked in there over the last 500 years. So it's a perfect venue.
Well, you could see by the wood in the, I take it that's a stairway or something, and in the roof, absolutely see the age in that. Looks lovely.
Yeah, absolutely stunning.
That is an absolutely stunning barn, and that is something that, to be honest, we probably wouldn't be able to afford a location like that. But I just sort of threw myself at the mercy of the guy who owns it, and like I found throughout this whole process, if you ask people for help, they'll give it to you. So he allowed us to film them there for sort of next to nothing. On the last on that particular shoot, we had the choice of either the Tuesday or the Monday, and I think on the Tuesday we could film longer. And I said, "Oh, well, what's going on a Monday? Why do we?" He said, "Well, you can do it, but I'll have to chuck you out at 6 o'clock because Shazaz, I think her name is Shazaz, and this is in Essex, has got her popular size or dancer size on." And once she comes in, she locks all the doors, so you can't get out. And I just have visions of Jules being sort of put through his paces by some, no doubt, neon yellow clad, very enthusiastic dance teacher from Essex. And I just thought, that might kill him.
Yeah, I could see the Bridget Jones moment there, definitely.
We just can't allow that to happen. But that barn, of course, you go anywhere with Jules, and the first thing he does is survey everything and lend you his opinions on it. And I think you said there was probably bits of ship in that barn. Is that right?
Yeah, I think they were looking at it, possibly.
It's a beautiful place, and you just feel like you're in the right place when you're there. It's usually used for sort of gym classes, and also people have weddings and things in it. But the guy that owns it, obviously, all of that's been completely kiboshed, which is one of the things about COVID that has worked in our favour. I wonder if you've got any shots of Mark, the other presenter who I've not mentioned yet.
I think there might be one or two in there, Chris.
Would that be that gentleman?
Yeah. So this is brilliant. This is a typical filmmaking story. So I work with Mark. Mark is a sound recordist. That's what he's best known for. And he became a presenter for the production company I worked for about 20 years ago. We did a lot of Discovery stuff. But he has since gone on to work as a sound recordist on the Detectorists. So it was all sort of meant to happen. Yeah. So anyway, Mark is, he's not got much work on sound recording. It's winter. Nobody's going to ring him up. He hasn't presented for a little while. So he goes off and he gets an operation done on his jaw, which gives him a speech impediment. And then the day after, I ring him up and ask him if he'd like to do the Underground History Show. So the poor fella has got this jaw, which is sort of he makes it, well, he's got new teeth until he gets it all fixed properly. And it was just really funny sometimes. If there's anything with too many S's, it just turns into the word like, and we have to sort of start him again. But he's a really great guy. He's just somebody else who can you come to a barn for 12 hours and do 9 pieces to camera, and we're having bread and butter for lunch sort of thing. And he just stuck right into it. And he was a bit nervous about meeting Jules, and so it was really nice for the two of them to meet, because Mark introduces the show, tells you what's going to be in the show, and then at the end tells you what's going to be in the next show, and introduces something. We end every show on something called Wall of Hall. So this is where viewers send in their finds, and we print them out as if they're Polaroids, and we put them on the wall, and we sort of just let people have their sort of moment of glory of what we found. It's a really nice part of the show. And Mark is just one of those guys, again, you turn up at 6:30 in the morning, got a full day's filming, and you haven't really got a script, and Mark just makes it happen. And it's exactly that kind of person that I'm so pleased we've got on the show. So yeah,
I actually do that, as you can tell. And that barn, you can see from that picture of the barn there as well how beautiful it is.
Yeah, it's a great barn. It's really nice, and you just look at all of this and all that equipment that I've got out there. And it might surprise you just how much clobber you take to film these things. Which I'm going to treat myself to a van next. But yeah, there's me at the camera. There's a Val assisting, pulling focus, and there's Mark talking gibberish.
Gibberish, my second language.
It's really nice. I've got a master's in it. It's a really nice place. Yeah, we were really lucky to get it, and somehow I never intended Essex to be our sort of headquarters, but there's Jules, and then there's another unsung hero that I really need to mention is Brian Day from the Braintree Club. He went above and beyond. We basically took a couple of days out of his life. We kidnapped him, and we made him drive Jules around rural Essex. And we stood in a field, and one of those amazing things where you you turn up and you've got to bond with people very quickly. You just tell that he was going to be a great guy. And we're doing this piece to camera in a field. I don't know if Jules remembers this. And there was a guy who walks across the back of the shot, which isn't the end of the world. You know, you just, hey mate, do you mind? Oh, hi, how you doing? Yeah, come on, come see what we're doing. But this guy decided that for some reason, he would hate us. And he went absolutely just insane at us. And we were all sort of stood there in a field with all this camera equipment. And I was just thinking, if he kills us, they'll never find the bodies. All we'll find is like a lens cap or something. And it's all those little things, all those little great things about filming, which kept me doing it for so long, where you make friends very quickly, you get into these scripts, and it's a lovely way to bond with people. And from that moment on, we were just, every shoot I've done, we've always finished with laughter. It's fantastic.
There's a geezer.
Oh, yeah.
Got your makeup on and everything there, hasn't it?
Yeah. That was about an hour after we met the guy that wanted to have a fight with us all. Or maybe a bit later.
That why his sleeves are rolled up.
Yeah. Got to look.
Got the same top now.
That's it. Look a bit geezery.
This is a really interesting thing for anybody else that we grew up into being on the show. I hadn't really known Jules at this point, and already it felt like he was starting to trust me a bit, because writing magazine articles and giving a speech at in a lecture theatre, it's quite different from being on the telly. We have to do everything like 3 times from different angles. And Jules said, well, there was nothing wrong with it. No, there wasn't anything wrong with it, but we need the side shot so I can cut it, and then I'll fade some music in. In my head, I can see not always exactly how it's going to be, but I've got an idea of what I need to shoot. Sometimes I have a little list. And it was that point on the afternoon that I thought, yeah, Jules, we can do this, because I hadn't met him before, and I'd just driven from Hartlepool to Essex. And it was just a lovely feeling. That was the sort of first time I thought, yeah, definitely onto a winner here with him.
Thank you, Chris.
It's all right. Will you pay me for saying that? I'll let Jules talk about this one. This is really interesting.
Right. Well, without giving anything away, one of the sort of areas were obviously aviation archaeology we were looking at, and wartime aviation stuff. And we went to see a lovely farmer locally, and that was just lying outside the farm. That actually was a B-17, I think. Yeah, B-17 oxygen bottle, along with other bits that he dragged from hedgerows. This guy, he does feature in episode 2 of the Underground History Show. And I won't mention his name because that will be obvious in the episode. A lovely fellow who really helped us out, and his passion for World War II aviation.
So, in a way, it's a shame not to mention his name, but he was somebody else that just, we turn up with all this equipment and we have a rough idea what we want to do, and he just ran with it. And he'd even, when we interviewed him in a barn again, a different barn, one of his barns, he'd set everything out for us. He had these 50 cal ammunition boxes, and he built us a little set. And it's just, he was absolutely fabulous. And that piece, I ended up getting 2 pieces out of it. And I don't think Jules has seen the rough edit for that yet, but it's
no, not yet.
It's fantastic. It's
I can believe it, Chris.
It's the best item we've shot so far. And what was amazing about that, Jules, is how professional you were when I was asking questions. How you didn't.
I knew you were going to raise that. I knew you were going to raise that.
That's a terrible thing to do.
Tell them about it quickly, then, Chris, because it's a good story.
Well, the first time, so sometimes when you interview somebody, you will leave the camera running because they'll say more natural stuff. And obviously, everybody in the show gets to see their contribution. And if they say, "Oh, look, I was wrong about that. Could you take it out?" Then we'll take it out. But it's a really nice way of getting natural responses. And often we'll just talk about things that you weren't going to ask them about. And Jules, who wasn't involved in the interview, who sat being quiet, wasn't that quiet, and and started to sort of ID things and talk about it. So I thought, Jules, you can't do that. You can't do that because we're interviewing you. Okay, so don't do that again. Yeah, look, yeah, no worries. Well, you should have said that's all. Yeah, I know, but sometimes we go on the camera. Well, you should say it. All right, I'll say it. Okay, guys, so we're going to record again, and it gets to something where this guy sort of he's He's talking about something, and Jules just can't help himself and joins in with the conversation. And that just speaks volumes of how much of this is in Jules's head all the time. He lives and breathes history and detecting, and it's a nice problem to have.
That's another nice piece as well.
Yeah. Did you take these, Jules?
Yeah. These were mobile phone shots, Chris.
Yeah, that was for a piece of part of our. So we start off the history detective, which is Jules's section, where Jules has this almost God-given gift. He can walk around the field and tell you what was there, and he doesn't see it as a gift. And you can't. And often he said, "Well, I don't know what to say, and I don't know what to do." Well, just talk about the hedgerow. Well, I can't talk about that. Oh, do you see how it dips at the bottom? Well, what that means is, again, you get this whole story about where the drainage was and why they took drainage away and because of this, that, and who was on the throne at the time. And we start off with a Roman villa, and then for episode 2, we move into aviation archaeology, where I have to say, of all the things I've shot, so I've been very lucky. I've worked on all kinds of shows. I've been in places where other people don't get to go. That was just amazing. That was just amazing. I can't stress again how lucky we are with people that have helped us. So we went to an airfield and a museum, and we sort of got the stories there, and we saw how a detectorist had helped the museum. Everything we try and do, we try and be as positive as we can be, and that was a good example of how we were able to show that detecting has helped that particular museum. So that's a Val with mud on his arse, because he's probably been sat that, and that's me sort of shooting.
Well, I'm going to try and identify this, and Jules will tell me I'm wrong straight away. I reckon it's a Hawker Hurricane Mark II propeller in memory of Tony Ince, founder of the Ridgewell Airfield Commemorative Museum, and David Osborne, author and Ridgewell Airfield historian. Am I wrong, Adrian? Julian?
Dave, that's
absolutely speechless, Dave. Absolutely.
I've got it right.
How do you know this? How do you know it?
Have I got the aircraft right though?
Well, no, it's it's not a Hurricane. I don't actually know. I didn't actually read it. All I know, it's an American Hamilton pitch prop by the look of it. So, looking at the area, one is going to go for Marauder, possibly B-17. It depends if it was off a local crash or souvenired post-war, etc. But yeah, it's definitely American, Dave. But other than that, yeah, 9 out of 10 gays.
No, I'm not happy with that. I was Googling English planes in the World War II to try and get one. And the only one I actually know, apart from the Spitfire, is the Hawker Hurricane, because I worked on one where I worked at Hawker.
10 out of 10 for trying, mate.
Jules, what museum was that?
Do you know what? It's amazing. It's just on the side of the road, down the road from us.
Wethersfield.
No, is it Wethersfield? There's so many American air bases.
It's okay to mention it. It was Ridgewell, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It says Ridgewell Airfield.
Yeah, we'd actually been detecting there about 3 months ago, and I was in the next field detecting, but I didn't know there was a museum there. It's a lovely museum, not well publicised, but wow, worth a visit when we can.
We give details of it in one of the episodes. So we always try, whenever people help us, we try and help them. And it really is. It's an amazing place to go. It really is a gold mine, isn't it, Jules? And it's just
stunning.
You could drive past it like 100 times.
Yeah. I think Dave's trying to Google the propeller.
Yeah. I'm not doing very well. I'm sacking myself. Luke, Laura, sack me. I can't find it. Oh well. Anyway, I think there's one more left in this file. Am I right? Yes, I am. Well, 2. Very muddy, Mr. Gaylor.
Yeah.
That was a very, very wet and muddy day. Yeah, we had the Vanquish 540, which I've had for over a year now. Blimey. And we were just doing a few shots, weren't we, Chris, on it? But it was so muddy and wet. But, most people wouldn't detect in wet and muddy fields. I do, always do. Doesn't bother me. You might lose a bit of depth and stuff, but I enjoy it. And we had
and lose the bottom of your sole of your shoe as well.
No, there's a lot of slippage going on. Chris, I knew it had been raining and it would be muddy and clay, so I had my boots on. Chris has got there what you would call a sort of kind of walking slipper.
Yeah. I turned up with my slippers, yeah. But
he had a few incidents there, but no, it was a good day out and enjoyed it and looking forward to
that was a good shoot day because we really got amongst the mud. It's always nice to keep it real and get in there. And it was just at the end of the day when you've got a really good piece. And we'd already shot some of that Vanquish review in earlier in the summer, and it was a really nice shoot. Even though we were sort of quite muddy, it just felt like a laugh. It just felt like good fun.
And the Vanquish was absolutely caked in mud. And I had the weather cover on it, and it was raining.
Our Vanquish. That was yours, wasn't it?
Yeah, my Vanquish. Yeah, and it was absolutely caked in mud. It was it got soaking wet. It poured with rain. And I didn't have the cover on, and fingers crossed, touch wood, it's still been all right. But yeah, it performed well, and enjoyed it. Actually, it was a good day out.
Fantastic. So it's closing up on 9:30. We've got 5 minutes or so left before we end the show. Julian, do you want to throw anything else into the mix about the show?
Yeah, just to say, thanks particularly to Chris. It's been a real learning curve for me. I've done TV work before, but never anything like this. Being a presenter, wow. It's a real opportunity for me, and my hat really goes off to Chris because I'm not always the easiest of people to work with. Sometimes, funny enough, I'm a very easygoing geezer, but he's put up with me, and I've learned tons like working with him. It's just a real privilege to be involved with him. I would just like to add at this moment on the subject of films and making films. I did promise people on Facebook this week that I would serialize my collection in a part 1 and part 2, coins and artifacts I found over 43 years. It's going to be shot on my mobile phone. I'll try and cut all the F words out, so I'll be, I won't speak too much. But I'm going to do coins tomorrow, and I'll post it up on the Treasure Hunting Facebook site tomorrow. And then over the weekend, I'll try and do all my artifacts. But it is a mobile phone, so forgive me. Quality's not going to be that good, but at least you get an insight into my collection. And just quickly on that, I'd like to say, if everyone else, there's a lot of other people on Facebook sharing their collections, hats off to you guys, because sharing at the moment is crucial. It's crucial for mental health. It's crucial for all of us who can't get out. Dig deep in your junk buckets. I found this 20 years ago, guys. What's this? Sort of thing. Get it out on social media, share it, and before you know it, we'll be looking at each other back out in the fields where all those finds came from. That I can assure you. Don't know when, but I can. But anyway, back to the thing. Cheers, Chris. Thank you ever so much for all the opportunity.
My pleasure. It's just the best thing I've worked on. It's been a fantastic experience, and there's so many things that could have gone wrong that haven't gone wrong. And it feels like somebody's watching over us, really, and somebody wants this to be made. So
you never know. You never know.
We've got to just buckle down and make the absolute best show that we can for detectorists. And if we can achieve somewhere near that, then I'll be a very happy man. And hopefully it'll go on beyond one series. But of course, you have to wait and see. Can I just mention that when we were putting the trailer together, actually there's a piece about a club who had who were also, well, one of the guys that runs the club up in Durham also runs an events company, and they were able to put a dig on in Binchester, which is a Roman fort site area, and they were really, really helpful. And I promised I would mention them. And it's Durham Detectorists, Land to Beach, 2 chaps there, Scott Hillary and Gary Buckingham, and they're just when we first started, we got a lot of people saying, no, we're not going to help you because telly's never very nice to detect. And yeah, but this isn't like that. This is going to be different. And they were the first people to sort of let us film. So we shot a piece about how they dealt with COVID-19 and how they put on a dig during restrictions. The restrictions weren't as heavy as they are now, but it's a really interesting piece, and I'm really grateful to them for that.
Fantastic. And of course, people can find more, keep up to date on everything via
Facebook. So you go to Facebook and you find Underground History Show. There's a page, and Underground History Show -production is a group that you can join and give us your ideas and give us feedback and say, well, I watched the episode and I think you've missed a trick there, or oh, why don't you do this? And we try and take it all on board. There's a lot of logistics to juggle. Whereabouts in the country is it? Does it fit in with the format? But the format's quite flexible. So that's a great place. And of course, we're on YouTube at the Underground History Show.
Fantastic. Adrian, have you got anything before we depart?
Just thanks, Chris and Jules, for coming on the show. No, it's fine. Thanks, I appreciate it, because I'm looking forward to these episodes coming out. And you know, I know Chris is under a lot of pressure with COVID, but the quicker the better for all of us to be at home watching these kind of things and getting our sort of injection of detecting, as you call it. Also, don't forget, this month's Treasure Hunting magazine with the green screen awfully blocking it out is available in the shops now. And well done to Darren Booth on his Denari hoard that he wrote about in this month. Detecting for Veterans, a very, very good cause. There's a really good write-up in there that you did, I think, Jules and Gary Cook.
Yeah, Gary.
Yeah. There's Garrett Apex review from some bloke who just dropped one a minute ago and has probably damaged it. So yeah, it's out in the shops. Get it on subscription. But yeah, it helps when you sit at home and read that. It brings you back to life. There has been delays on delivery of the magazine for any subscribers. Me personally, first class post in Essex is taking a week at the moment. So if people are having issues, it's not the magazine, it is Royal Mail, and hats off to them. They get COVID like anyone else. And my postman had it, so there's a lot of people. So any deliveries at the moment is from Greenlight Publishing or Treasure Hunting magazine is down to COVID, sadly. But there's worse things that happen in life, so bear with everyone.
Absolutely.
And more importantly, sorry, Dave, thank you, Laura, Mrs. Luke's wife, tonight for doing the show.
Yeah, thank you, Laura.
Yes.
She's actually better than Luke, but don't tell him.
We'd really like Laura to come and do something metal detecting with kids with us. I've reached out to her and hopefully we'll talk her into that. But that's one of the many topics we'll be covering, how good it is for kids.
Brilliant. Well, next week, ladies and gentlemen, we have an absolute massive guest, Ms. Laura Makelum. You may know her from her recent book on mudlarking and all her videos and such like on mudlarking as well. Absolutely can't wait to speak to her. Julian, you will attest as well that she's just fantastic to knowledge and everything of what she does is absolutely spectacular.
Fabulous lady and fabulous book she's written.
Absolutely. And to end the show from me, I've got one bit more thing to share. I've been asked to make an announcement. I'm not 100% sure on the what's happening. Laura, could you just share the screen for me, please? We have this. Just detect something big is coming in the spring of 2021. To register your interest, you can add your email address to just-detect.com. And this is being brought to you by Detector Network, the Metal Detective Group, and Peaky Finders. I'm not 100% sure because none of them have mentioned to me, but please register your interest there. I do know one little bit of it, which I've been helping test, which is phenomenal. But that's all I'm going to say because it's not for me to say. So just-detect.com to learn all about that. Thank you tonight, obviously, to Adrian as ever. Chris, it's been a pleasure speaking to you for the first time. Julian, you know how much I love you, you legend, you. Lisa, if she's not in bed, good night to Lisa too. The show wouldn't be possible with all our viewers. Thank you all, and everybody who shares it and everybody who interacts. Please visit arcmdmag.com or download our Google our Google Play or iOS app for all the latest news. And there's some doozies on there at the moment, isn't there, Adrian?
Sorry, I was just looking at the post. Can we order food delivery in the field for just a text? It's given me an idea. Sorry, Dave. What was that?
I said the magazine have had some absolute class articles in the past couple of weeks, hasn't it?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, unbelievable. I think, like Jules was saying, people are sitting at home and going through their finds and digging stuff out. And
well, not just that, the archaeological and the historical articles on there as well.
Sorry. Yeah. I was laughing at that. Just a text. Yes, absolutely, definitely get on the site, Dave. There's loads. Like I said, every morning I get up, open up the app, and I read what I want to read. I don't read about like the latest president in America, which I know Jules has been following heavily, 24 hours a day. But yeah, it's a breath of fresh air. It's reading about stuff we love and enjoy. So download the app without a doubt.
Fantastic. Well, again, thank you to each and every one of you, to Adrian, to Chris, to Julian, and to Laura. And hope Luke is all sorted with work and he catches up with everything sooner rather than later, because I miss him. I don't speak to him. Anyway, thank you all and have a great night. Good night, everyone.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, Dave. Thanks, Adrian.
Will you search through the lonely earth for me? Climb through the briar and bramble. I'll be your treasure. I felt the touch of the king. Bye.